Today we are reviewing Freaky, a body swap cauldron of fun, killing, a pinch of heart, heap full of previous slasher movie references, comedy. It's definitely a comedy. I mean, it pays itself to the more comedic friendship circle, on the run type, young person slasher films. It's a fun start to a horror comedy. The music complements that. The music is not at the forefront of this film. It definitely plays a back seat. It's not what I think the audience to this film would be looking for, but it's there, and it does complement it to people to look out for that. There are brutal kills. To kick things off, especially Scream-esque start to it, where the beginning first few minutes do not really have any consequences. It's more to put the film into gear as such. Just looking at the notes here, there are plenty of elaborate kills. I mean, if I just shout the toilet, teacher, classroom, just bedroom. There's just loads of little hints that I'll sprinkle across this review, just to entice you to go and watch those and see what crazy elaborate kills the filmmakers come up with. Really fun. They had a lot of fun with it. Yeah, as the film goes on, the murders do get a bit more sparse, I must say. They are there. There's one that's not so fun. Like when the film kicks off and you get those brutal first few murders, you really think, wow, okay, like this film is having fun with it. And then there's a slightly less fun kill with a girl in a freezer. But then a few moments later, you get the awesome teacher kill. So yeah, it's there. Subtle humour throughout, especially the dynamic between the friends group. It seems really organic. I mean, they're all pretty pretty early on in their career. I know the character, the actress who plays Millie, she's well versed. But the other two best friends are not as versed, and they do a pretty good job. The body swap is when the film really gets into gear. I mean, Vince Vaughn plays a very different role than what he has done previously, and he has a lot of fun with it. He has a lot of fun with it. Let's see here. Yeah, Vince Vaughn feels himself in this role. He expresses characteristics of the character Millie, but obviously seeing him do it as a grown adult, it's really fun. A couple points here. The dance sequence he pulls off to persuade his friends he is actually Millie. That was really funny. I mean, when they all sort of get going, it's great. The subtle nervous nature to his expressions and his speech, especially around Booker, his crush, her crush, sorry. It's cool. He does a great job. I mean, the directing and the revision he went through to get into that role, it seemed like he put himself in good stead. His run, I mean, the run he does, it's really cool to see, because he really inhabits, you know, how I don't know if you actually get to see her run. You do, in fact. So yeah, it's just really cool to see. I would definitely want to see more Kathryn Newton filmed in the future. Kathryn Newton, who plays Millie, the lead character, she's quite a screen presence. She does a great job. Her turn as the mostly silent killer, it's fun to see. Don't get me wrong. She gets a cool costume change. Not much in the fact of, you know, a standout performance. You wouldn't say, wow, that's Oscar worthy, but it's cool. It's fun. It's quirky. The scene where Millie is left up by herself, right, in the schoolyard. It's set up. You can see the setup there and then. It's not like it's it's a surprise or a hit in the face or wow, that's really cool direction. You can see that there will be a confrontation between the killer and herself. Lo and behold, there is, which leads to the body swap scene, which is where the film sort of switches in a good way. You also get a Vince Vaughn silhouette, which is really creepy, and I really like that silhouette. It's just, it gets a bit artsy where the film is not as such. It's more comedy and horror, but they slip in a few really decent shots. Something to look out for there. Okay, I'm going to throw a bunch of references at you that the filmmakers pay homage to old slasher franchises. The flannel over Millie's face was like a mask. Vince Vaughn crashing through the wooden trellis, a Scream reference. I can just picture Scream with doing that plenty of times, brilliant. Booker's jersey has the word Strode written on it, which is obviously Laurie Strode from the Halloween franchise. A Michael Myers-esque return from the dead at the end, classic Halloween. The Freaky Friday name, which the film lends its title to, Freaky Friday. The original idea that the filmmakers had was to call it Freaky Friday the 13th. It also had another name, but it was ultimately decided that Freaky would be the name that they go for. Click through the old notes. Here we are. I like that they made a point of keeping the correct strengths and anatomy to Vince Vaughn's character and the Millie character, where once Vince Vaughn's consciousness was put into Millie, he had her strength, the strength of a schoolgirl, and vice versa. Millie then possessed Vince Vaughn's strength, the strength of a towering frame that he is, which it's easier to accept that way. It's more grounded. It's not as silly, and you do end up believing the body swap as the film goes on. They do their part enough to honor the body swap, which is important, I suppose. Otherwise, it would have been looked at as a bit campy. I did not need to see the kiss between Vince Vaughn and Booker. That was something that I did not need to see, and I could see it coming. They were in the back of the car. It's something that I was hoping that the film would make an excuse for, i.e. the killer comes crashing through the car. Anything possibly I wished would happen. But no, they went through with it. A choice that they made that I wasn't for at all. It's not really a scary film overall. I mean, it's aimed at a wide audience, I would say, where young people could get on board. People that like horror would definitely have a little crack at it, and a general audience, I suppose. It's not got the most diverse cast, mostly young actors and actresses. Vince Vaughn obviously will garner a few fans of his. For the most part, it wasn't scary, more fun. I will say that the ending, where Vince Vaughn's character does return as the actual killer, not once the body swap is done, that was pretty scary. That was where the horror elements really kicked in terms of Millie looking around her house, trying to suss out the noises and mistakes that she could sort of point out. That was the most fun I had in terms of immersing myself in the horror. And then it ends. But overall, it was a great film. Really great film. Really really elaborate, really fun, quite quirky. I must say, shouts out to the actress Celeste O'Connor. who has only starred in a handful of films. I mean, 4 or 5. She plays Millie's best friend, and yeah, she done a great job. You wouldn't have thought that she was only, a few films into her career. The boy, the male best friend of Millie's, he also did a great job. He was the most comedic, and it wasn't exactly forced. Just the things he was coming out with. Yeah, his number plate, just yeah, a pretty cool mix. I mean, the character of Booker, nothing towards the actor. I wasn't rating the character and the decisions it made. It was boring. Yeah, but overall it was fun. I must say, overall it was fun. The killer obviously came back in a badass fashion, and Millie finished him off, as you would in the finale of a slasher. Yeah, overall, freaky, great film, recommend it. Have a little crack and tell me what you think. Thank you.